Samsung may be about to make its foldable lineup a lot more expensive and a lot more tempting at the same time. The early talk around a Galaxy Z Fold 8 Ultra points to a thinner body, bigger camera ambitions, and a more serious push at the premium buyer who might otherwise look at the Google Pixel Fold line, the OnePlus Open successor, or even a regular Galaxy S Ultra instead. And that matters because if Samsung positions this as a true Ultra foldable, the price could land around $1,899 to $2,199 in the US. That is not a casual purchase. That is a long-term investment. And for anyone using a Z Fold 5, Z Fold 6, or even a standard flagship phone from 2 or 3 years ago, the wrong timing could cost you hundreds of dollars. The key question is simple. Will the Z Fold 8 Ultra be a real productivity upgrade worth paying for, or just a more expensive version of the same idea? Right now, the leaks suggest this could be one of the first foldables from Samsung that finally tries to close the gap with slab flagships on camera quality, battery efficiency, and premium build quality all at once. If that happens, this device stops being a niche luxury and starts becoming a serious buying decision for professionals, creators, and power users. But that is not the biggest change. The biggest change may be what Samsung is trying to fix about foldables in the first place. For years, foldables have asked buyers to accept trade-offs. You pay more, and you still get thicker hardware, weaker cameras, and battery life that often trails a Galaxy S Ultra or iPhone Pro Max. That is exactly why many buyers keep waiting. They want the premium experience without the compromise tax. The Z Fold 8 Ultra appears to be aimed directly at that problem. Early reports suggest Samsung is pushing for a thinner frame, improved hinge engineering, and a larger vapor chamber for better thermal control. In real-world terms, that could mean less pocket bulk, better multitasking comfort, and more stable gaming performance over long sessions instead of the usual heat buildup that causes frame drops after 20 minutes. That single change alone could justify part of the price difference. If Samsung also moves to a more advanced Snapdragon flagship chip, likely the top-tier platform available at launch, buyers should expect a meaningful jump in sustained performance over older Fold models. A realistic gain would be around 20 to 30% faster CPU performance and stronger GPU efficiency compared to 2-generation-old hardware. That sounds like a spec sheet claim until you put it into daily use. App launches could shave off a second here and there. Large Lightroom exports might finish 20 to 25% faster. High-end games could hold steadier frame rates closer to 60 or even 90 frames per second on the inner display instead of dipping hard once the device gets warm. Here is where things get very interesting. Performance is not what holds many foldables back anymore. It is everything around the chip. If the Z Fold 8 Ultra keeps Samsung's usual multitasking software advantage, this may remain the best smartphone for professionals who actually use split-screen, floating windows, deck-style workflows, and cross-device ecosystem features. Google's foldables are cleaner and simpler. OnePlus is impressed with multitasking ideas, but Samsung still tends to win on pure productivity upgrade value because the software feels built for people who treat a phone like a work tool. That matters if your phone is replacing a tablet on flights, in meetings, or between shoots. Now let's talk displays, because this is where Samsung can quietly improve long-term ownership value. If the Z Fold 8 Ultra gets a brighter outer panel, stronger anti-reflective treatment, and a less visible crease, that changes the ownership experience every single day. You notice that outside. You notice that in office lighting. And you definitely notice it after 6 months when a novelty of folding wears off and the practical annoyances become more important than the wow factor. Most buyers comparing specs are completely missing this one detail that could make or break this purchase. The outer display may matter more than the inner display. Why? Because many foldable owners still spend a huge part of the day using the cover screen like a normal phone. So if Samsung makes the outer panel wider, brighter, and easier to type on, the Z Fold 8 Ultra becomes a better everyday device, not just a bet. Our folding device. That is a major difference in real-world value. And this is the part that surprised us the most. The camera may finally become the reason some people upgrade, not the reason they avoid a foldable. Samsung has often kept its best camera hardware for the Galaxy S Ultra line. If the Z Fold 8 Ultra gets a more aggressive camera upgrade, even if it does not match the top S Ultra completely, that alone could change the buying decision for premium users. Think better low-light detail, more reliable zoom, cleaner skin tones indoors, and stronger video stabilization for social content and client work. For creators, that is not a luxury feature. That is return on investment. A foldable that can handle email, editing, note-taking, and high-quality content capture in one device has a very different value story from a foldable that still forces you to carry a second camera phone. Spending $2,000 feels extreme. Spending $2,000 on a device that replaces both your phone and small tablet starts to look more rational. But wait until you hear what the battery question could mean. Battery life has been one of the biggest hidden costs in foldable ownership. Not because the phone dies instantly, but because premium buyers expect all-day confidence at this price. If Samsung improves efficiency through a new chip, better thermal design, and smarter display tuning, even a modest gain of 1 to 2 extra hours of mixed use would be a serious win. That could mean ending the day with 20% left instead of 8%. For travelers, mobile professionals, and heavy users on 5G, that is the difference between trust and anxiety. Now we hit the part that changes everything. Charging. If Samsung still plays it safe with charging speeds, while Chinese foldable rivals keep pushing faster wired charging, that becomes a real weakness. A premium device near $2,000 should not feel slow to recharge compared to alternatives. If the Z Fold 8 Ultra sticks near the same charging tier while competitors can refill much faster, buyers need to count that as part of long-term ownership friction. The benchmark numbers may look impressive on paper, but real-world performance tells a different story. And the same is true for charging. Saving 20 to 25 minutes every time you top up over a year adds up fast. So how does this compare to the competition? Against the Galaxy Z Fold 6 or Z Fold 7 generation, the Ultra model only makes sense if Samsung truly upgrades 3 things at once: camera, thickness, and battery efficiency. If only one of those improves, this becomes a premium tax product. If all 3 improve, it becomes a genuine flagship experience and a smarter purchase for buyers who skipped previous folds. Against the Google Pixel Fold line, Samsung would likely still have the edge in productivity, multitasking, and broader feature depth. Google may still win in point-and-shoot photography and AI simplicity. So if your priority is creator workflow and professional workflow flexibility, Samsung has the stronger long-term value case. If your priority is camera ease and cleaner software, Google remains dangerous. Against a OnePlus Open successor, Samsung has to justify the extra cost with better support, stronger resale value, and a more polished ecosystem advantage. That matters in the US market. A device is not just hardware. It is software support, trade-in programs, accessories, repair confidence, and how well it holds value after 2 or 3 years. And that brings us to the one question every buyer needs to answer. Is the Z Fold 8 Ultra worth the price? At $1,899, it starts to look aggressive but defensible for power users. At $1,999, Samsung needs to deliver a clear camera and battery leap. At $2,199, this becomes a much tougher sell unless the experience is dramatically closer to a Galaxy S Ultra camera system in a foldable body. Here is the financial reality. If you keep your phone for 3 years, the difference between $1,799 and $1,999 is about $5.50 per month. For a professional who uses the device every day for email, video calls, documents, editing, and content capture, that can be a smart investment. For a casual user who mainly scrolls, texts, and watches video, is probably wasted money. Future-proofing also matters here. If Samsung brings more RAM, larger base storage, stronger AI features that actually save time, a longer software support window, the Z Fold 8 Ultra could offer better premium ownership VA than many standard flagships. Not because it is cheaper, but because it may stay useful longer. Still, there's one feature almost nobody is talking about: durability. A thinner foldable sounds exciting, but only if Samsung can improve hinge confidence, increase durability, dust resistance, and long-term screen protection. Buyers in this category are not paying just for innovation. They're paying for peace of mind. If the Ultra feels more delicate, that hurts the entire value equation. If it feels stronger than previous Fold models, Samsung finally has a foldable that feels less experimental and more bankable. So here is the buying advice. If you're a casual user, skip it. A standard Galaxy S Ultra, iPhone Pro Max, or Pixel Pro will give you better value, fewer compromises, and more money left in your pocket. The Z Fold 8 Ultra would simply be overkill. If you're a power user who lives in split screen, remote work apps, email, PDFs, and multitasking, this could be worth buying now if Samsung delivers the rumored design, battery, and thermal gains. That is where the productivity upgrade becomes real, and where the premium price may actually make sense. If you're a professional, especially in sales, consulting, finance, real estate, or management, the answer depends on how much you use the bigger screen for actual workflow. If your phone is your mobile office, this could be a smart investment. If it is mostly a communication tool, save the money. If you are a creator, the Z Fold 8 Ultra only becomes an easy recommendation if the camera system gets meaningfully better. Better previews, easier editing, and stronger multitasking are great. But at this price, you should not have to compromise too much on capture quality. Wait for camera testing before making a final call. If you're a gamer, the larger display and likely flagship chip could make this one of the best foldables for gaming performance, especially for cloud gaming and controller use. But thermals and battery matter more than raw benchmarks. If Samsung fixes heat and endurance, this becomes a premium gaming device. If not, a dedicated gaming phone or even a tablet may be the better value. If you're upgrading from a 2-year-old foldable or older, especially a Z Fold 4, Z Fold 5, or an aging slab flagship, this is where the strongest upgrade value may appear. You would likely notice the design refinement, faster performance, better battery behavior, and potentially much better cameras every day. If you already own the current generation Fold, wait. Unless Samsung makes a major leap in camera hardware and body thickness, the return on investment probably will not be strong enough to justify another upgrade this soon. So the final verdict is clear. Buy now only if the Z Fold 8 Ultra launches with a real camera upgrade, meaningful battery efficiency gains, and a thinner, more durable design. Upgrade from older Fold models if you want a foldable that finally feels closer to a true flagship. Wait if you own a recent Fold, or if Samsung keeps the same weak points under a new Ultra name. And skip it entirely if you want the best value flagship rather than the most ambitious one. This could be Samsung's most important foldable in years, not because it folds, but because it may finally answer whether foldables are ready to be smart long-term purchases. And if you're deciding between this and Samsung's next S Ultra, that comparison may end up being even more important.